I want to share a secret with you today about how your booking process can actually help you attract higher end clients who actually want to pay more. Because something I know is that if you can actually have higher paying clients, you're going to enjoy your career so much more. And I'll tell you, one thing that kind of made me hate my career for a little bit is the fact that it was kind of industry standard that like people no show, people reschedule. That's just part of it. Get over it. You're booking out all this time for someone and then they just don't show up. That's like half your day. So I don't want you to have to go through this. That's not fun. I could not stand this, especially if I'm doing lived in color. I have a client that's booked up for 4 hours and they just decide not to show up. But here's the thing, when I actually changed my booking process, I literally cannot remember having a single no-show. And it had nothing to do with my cancellation policy because I had already had a cancellation policy before I started this booking process and it really didn't do much. Or if I had to use it, clients would just get really mad at me and stuff like that. So this booking process was instrumental in helping me actually enjoy my career. So I'm going to share it with you today. So one of the key aspects to this booking process is having a new client form, but not just any new client form, not just gathering a few like simple pieces of information, but having a very intentional new client form. One of the main things that this did for me is just weed out non-serious clients, because non-serious clients are the ones that are going to go back and forth with you in the DMs all day long about all their hair problems. You're going to give them solutions, and then when it comes time to book, then they ghost with you. So a new client form really helps to eliminate that problem altogether. And the other thing about non-serious clients is the fact that they don't really care to show up to their appointments. And when you're doing something like lived in color and they just, it's like a 4-hour service and they just no-show you, that's not good. So a new client form actually helps them become more invested in the booking process, and it makes them more excited about showing up to the appointment. Now, a lot of people kind of have a hesitancy to enact a new client application or a new client form because they're like, well, I don't want to be weeding people out. I just want new clients. But here's what I learned about doing this is if a new client can be confidently led through your booking process, that process actually helps them to become more excited and more inspired to actually keep their appointment. Because a lot of clients will just book appointments maybe with a few different stylists, and they'll just like cancel or no show on the ones that they just decided that day that they're not actually going to go see. But when you have a new client form, they actually become invested in the process. They're like, oh gosh, I hope that I'm picked. Like literally, I would always get people who would fill out my new client form and I would respond to them and they would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you actually picked me. I'm going to book right away. Like it actually gets them more excited and more motivated to actually get to the point of booking an appointment. And people like that, they don't no show, they don't cancel, they don't reschedule. They want to make sure that they are being a good client for you. They want to make sure that you like them, because you're not the only one worried about if clients are liking you. They actually want to find someone they could have a good relationship with and that you actually enjoy doing their hair too. The other thing that is so important, that is so overlooked about what a new client form could actually do for you, is it can help you actually prepare for your appointment so you don't have to be riddled with anxiety every time a new client comes into your chair. You may have even talked with them about it a little bit before too, so you're not going to be just completely blindsided about what's walking into your chair that day. And especially if you are an independent stylist, you don't always have a huge stock of inventory. Sometimes you have to plan ahead on which clients are coming in so that you can then like go to Salon Centric, go to Cosmoprop, get the things you need in order to work on that individual client. You don't always have a bunch of stuff so that you can just go wherever the wind blows you that day. And I'll tell you this, one of the main reasons that clients leave their former hairstylist is because they feel like when they go in, maybe a second time or something, they realize the hairstylist kind of barely remembers them and barely remembers what their goals are. And that could just make you feel like you're not really important to the hairstylist, and it makes you kind of like unsure about whether they're going to be able to achieve the same result consistently for you or not. But you having the new client form or that new client application, whatever you want to call it, you have a database of all that information you can study right before they come in case you forgot some things that you talked about. And that's going to help you so that you can confidently talk about those interests and desires and problems that that client has. And they don't have to feel like they have to reiterate to you every single time what those problems and desires are. You just kind of get them. That is the best feeling to have as a client for anything, is that somebody just gets you. You don't have to tell them every single time what to do. That creates a very high-end experience for them. So that's one thing that that new client form can help you achieve. So hopefully I've convinced you that having a new client form is a really good thing. And if you have any questions about having a new client form or any concerns, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. But for now, let me just give you a few tips for using this so that you don't have any negative negative consequences from using a new client form. One thing, you don't want to be perceived as someone who's pretentious or anything like that. So let me share with you just a few tips for using this right now. So you want your new client form to be the main point of entry into the booking process with you. So that means that across all the platforms that you're advertising in, whether you're in person, Instagram, or Facebook, you want to make sure that that's the first point of entry. So whenever you are doing a call to action on either any of these platforms, just make sure that you have that consistent call to action. Hey, you're ready to book, go straight to here, so that they're not confused about the booking process. Because one of the things that will deter a new potential client is just not being clear on what the booking process is. And again, like the purpose of the new client form is to just kind of confidently lead them through that booking process, because it makes them feel so much more secure in what they're doing, and it just removes a lot of doubt and a lot of resistance to booking with you. So make sure in all of those different areas, whether it's Google Maps, Instagram, Facebook, or in person, make sure that it's clear to them that if they want to book an appointment with you, the first thing that they need to do is check out this new client form. And this brings me to my second point. You actually want to make this new client form not just something for yourself, but you want to present it as something that is going to be interesting for them. People love to talk about themselves and love to talk about their problems. So make sure that you have a space on there for them to do that, because when they start to talk about their problems, talk about their desires, they become more invested in the process and they are excited to hear what your response is going to be. And then the third thing is, when you're doing a new client form, make sure that on your website or wherever you have this posted, that you are clear in your communication with your clients, that you respond very quickly. Whenever I have a question about a company or like a product or something like that, I have to be directed to like an email or something to ask this question. My first thought is, okay, how often do they check this? Is their customer service even good? Am I ever going to get a response? Like, I kind of want a response now, right? So on your new client form, or maybe right before they fill out your new client form, make sure to let them know, hey, I really value everybody who fills out this form and takes the time to give me information about themselves so that I can help them. So I respond to these within 1 or 2 hours. The only exception would be if I'm with a client. So be assured that I will be getting back to you as soon as possible. That is going to entice them to actually do it rather than just put it off. Now, what does this look like on your actual website? Because your actual website, or wherever clients book appointments, if you have online booking, your actual website is going to be tailored to both new clients and to returning clients. You want to make it almost uncomfortable for new clients to start like going straight to your booking page. You want to make sure that they are guided wherever they may end up on your website. They are guided to first going to that new client form. One of the ways that you do that is, of course, just by creating a new client form that is just more enticing and not necessarily just like give me your name and email, like something boring like that. Like, they actually get to give you information about themselves and they become invested in your response. So that's one way. The other way, if they find themselves somehow on your booking website when they haven't first filled out that form, make sure all the services are regular touch-up or regular lived-in color transformation. So that way they wouldn't go and click on that because they know they're not a regular. So that's one thing that I did on my booking system, is I named all the services based on like regulars or new clients. So that way they didn't feel confused if they somehow ended up on the booking page, and they knew they had to go through that new client form first. So this is almost like having a receptionist for you, which is really nice. Now here's a little bonus tip for you when doing the new application or the new client form, is make sure that you have a few little policy agreements on there. That way, before they even book the service, you have in writing a signature agreeing to your different policies, whatever those might be. And if you'd like me to do a video on like what policies I really like to include, let me know in the comments below. But just having that on your form is going to serve as a little insurance for you in case somebody like later starts to dispute a cancellation policy or something like that with their credit card, and you have this information stored in a database with their new client form that they've already agreed to this cancellation policy and now they're going against it. It's so important to have that kind of stuff in writing. So bonus tip, include your policies in your new client form. This is also, of course, going to weed out clients who aren't serious about booking with you as well. That way, you rarely have to actually enforce your cancellation policy because they already have an understanding of it. And the first time that they're hearing about your cancellation policy is not when they cancel. So this is just another way to reinforce whatever your cancellation policy is, or any of your policies are. One thing I really want to stress though, so you don't flop by having this new client form, is that you really need to have developed a lot of desire and interest before somebody even gets to this form. Yes, the form is going to increase that excitement and increase that motivation and entice them to actually show up to their appointment, but you have to have first generated that interest and excitement prior to filling out the form. You're going to feel a lot more confident using a new client form if you are confident with your skills and your ability to do lived in color. So what I would suggest is you check out the video on the screen right here, because I'm going to go in depth on how you can get good at lived in color quickly and master it to the point where no matter what client comes in, you know exactly what advice to give, you know exactly what placement you're going to use. You want to develop that level of confidence before ever implementing a new client form, because that's what's going to generate a lot of excitement and interest in what you're doing and make people actually want to fill out your form. So click the video on the screen right here. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And my name is Lauren. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. I will see you over there.